What's your top wow that actually worked moment? Friend's dad a couple years ago has an old Windows 2000 computer with a dead hard drive. Normally this wouldn't be an issue as it's an old-ass machine, just get a new one. But unfortunately this hard drive had the only backup copy of some very important family pictures. Since the external HDD they kept important file backups on died a few weeks prior. Went through every troubleshooting step I could think of in order to recover the data and nothing. As far as I could tell, drive was completely shot. So in one last desperate attempt I blew on the connectors and the ports like I was trying to get my NES cartridge to work. Flicked the drive with my finger, and gave it a small dramatic speech about needing to stay alive for the family. Fucking thing booted. Stayed on long enough for me to grab the files, and then went dead. Well, I half ran a stop sign that got ran a lot. Cop pulled me over. By half ran, I mean, I was doing a California slow roll through, and halfway through I saw the cop and stopped. He walks up, asked me if I knew I ran the stop sign. I said yes. Then, I dunno why, but I asked, may I have your mercy? Quote. He takes a step back, looked a little perplexed, runs my license, comes back, and just says, today, I am merciful. Stop running stop signs. Let off with a warning. Sounds like the beginnings of a bad porno. Got a free watch offer from a decent company I'd bought from before, but you had to spend over $300. I added 4 of the free watches, which were usually $75, into the cart, which registered as $300. I went to check out and a green $300 appears in the bill. Added my shipping address and 2 weeks later they came. That seems like a pretty good bug in the website. Good job taking advantage of it. After hours of trying to repair a broken digital camera, I went to throw it away. I shrugged and dropped it on the linoleum. Monsieur heard a horrible crack. The motor turned on, making a jackhammer sound before it clicked and became a smooth hum. Monsieur, the camera worked after that. Good old percussive maintenance. The first time my wife and I went out to eat with our new baby, he was sitting in a baby seat next to the table, and he started crying. I picked up a salt shaker and set it right in front of him, and said, watch this. And he looked at the salt and stopped crying. Parenthood is 90% distraction and redirection. This is so true. When ours gets upset and screamy, I just scream back at her in a silly voice and she completely forgets that she was upset, starts giggling, and we end up just making silly noises at each other. Babies are weird. The entire grade went on a field trip to a bowling arcade place to celebrate completing middle school. I was at a claw machine. Not sure exactly what it's called. I'm talking about the machine where you direct a claw and try to grab a toy with it. And I asked my friend to look at the claw from the side to see if it was lined up with the toy I wanted. Just then, a boy from another class walked up and said to me, you know that those are a scam, right? Single quote. I was flustered and hit the button to lower the claw without even waiting for my friend to tell me if it was lined up properly. The claw came back up with 2 toys and dropped them in the collection box. The boy was silent for a moment before saying, that was actually pretty good, and walking away. I'll never be so cool again in my entire life. My very small company organized a bowling night once, and one of my coworkers, who was technically my superior, kept trying to give me tips to bowl better. He was just being helpful, but I was several drinks in, so at some point I grabbed the ball, yelled, "Ya know what? I don't need your effing advice," and slammed the ball down the lane and walked away without looking. Strike. I didn't bowl the rest of the night. The nice thing here is that it was a win-win situation. Either you get a strike and look like a god, hit some of the pins, which is also impressive, or get a gutter, which would be also funny. I was a network engineer for an ISP at the time, and I had to get to a mountaintop where one of our towers were located to perform some maintenance. Had to ride a snowmobile all the way up there, and when I got there I realized I forgot the keys to the enclosure. Not to be defeated, I tried to pick the lock, and I got it to open after about 20 minutes of trying. Yay. I didn't have to quit for the day and got the work done. Well done. Sounds like a nice gig having to use a snowmobile to get to the job. I was 12 and didn't know how to swim, monsieur. I wound up in the deep end of a pool with dozens of other people who didn't realize I disappeared underwater. I struggled for a second, then remembered something my childhood friend told me. All you have to do to float is bend over in water. I never had the guts to try when she told me, but I was about to die. So, I just let my body relax, and bent over in the water by my waist and floated to the surface. Alive. I couldn't believe it was as simple as she said. Edit. Yes. After all this time floating, I can swim now. Thanks for the silver. I'm just glad I didn't latch on to someone else in the pool and drown him while trying to climb up to the surface. I hear that happens a lot. Jesus. Get your kids swimming lessons, people. I was flying somewhere. After everyone else was boarded, I went up to the gate agent and asked about being upgraded to first class. After a bunch of typing on her computer, she said sure and asked how I would like to pay for it. I said, by asking nicely. Quote, to my amazement, she gave me a boarding pass for my new first-class seat. I had a somewhat similar experience. I was making small talk with the flight attendant while everyone else was taking their seats on a flight from Vegas to DC. I always sit in the back and there was an entire row just empty next to me. So I asked if I could move when the flight took off. She said it was for the flight attendants in case we hit turbulence, so no. I could not sit there. No big deal. We continued to chat and I told her the fun story of my flight into Vegas with a drunken guy who threatened to assault a baby and the flight crew. A little after takeoff, she motioned for me to follow her and told me to take out a card of any type. She then pretended to swipe it and upgraded me to the exit row. An entirely empty exit row for a ~7 5.5 hour flight. Fucking glorious. I was so grateful. Some dude tried to sit in the other exit row without asking, and that flight attendant moved so quickly to ask for his card so he could pay for his upgrade. He sheepishly got up and moved back to his assigned seat. It was a night full of surprises. Edit. Apparently my phone thinks I interacted with a flight attendant instead of flight attendant. I'm a straight dude with a lot of gay friends. One of them jokingly refers to me as king of the gays. I was visiting some friends in another city a few weeks ago and we try to go into a gay bar. But the doorman tells me there's a cover charge. I, being drunk, blurted out, but I am king of the gays, and he laughed and let me in. Ha ha ha. I was dating a girl who wanted to take her gay friends to Boys Town one night and I went with the monsieur at all the bars we normally went to. She usually got in free, cause boobs, and I would have to pay a cover. However, in Boys Town that logic goes out the window. She got charged and me and the boys waltzed right in. I was enjoying giving her shit about it. Then we went to the last bar of the night and the bouncer tells me it's a $5 cover. I'd had a few and was also drunk on my newfound cachet. I said, hey man, all the other bouncers on this street didn't charge me. He looked me up and down super skeptically and asked, why? Ego deflated. Art murdered by words. I repair slot machines for a living. One was frozen in game state with well over $1,000 on it. All the doors were closed. No jams in the dollar acceptor or the voucher printer. All the lights were on and the software just stopped mid-spin. I was thinking the game finally died and we'd need to reimburse the guest for their lost money, which can take a while if it's a shit ton of money like this. The guest jokingly asked if it just needed its butt kicked to work again. And I figured that since this game is old and durable, I'll indulge. Hi monsieur, I kicked it, and the game came right back up, and the guest proceeded to win another $500 or so from that spin. Game was good for the rest of the day, too. No errors or anything. I played it off as gracefully as I could. But I think that was my life's peak and I'll never look that fucking cool to anybody ever again. Edit. You, this comment blew up. I'm gonna reply to as many of you beautiful people as I can. My sister and I went to a show a while after she'd been going through some really rough times. I wrote the band a letter about her and asked one of their merch guys if he could deliver it to them, hoping they could just give her a shout out during the set or something. About 20 minutes later I got a phone call from the band's manager saying to go to the side of the stage between the opener and the headliner. And we got to watch the whole show from the side of the stage and they gave us a VIP meet and greet pass. The bassist came up and we learned that he was the one who pushed for us to get what we got. He was so nice about everything. And he gave my sister a hug and posed for a photo with her. Edit. Band was asking Alexandria. Edit. Because a lot of people are asking. It was May 2013 before Danny left. Right before they released From Death to Destiny.
I also tried to give Danny a hug at the meet and greet and later that night he tweeted that he's
not really a hug person lol. I went to a Page and Plant concert when I was in high school with a bunch of girlfriends. We had crappy nosebleed seats behind the stage but we were super excited to be there anyway. Some dude with an English accent approached us and said he was their tour manager. And they saved the first few rows of seats to give out at the shows so scalpers wouldn't get a hold of the monsieur. He was 100% telling the truth and I got to see Page and Plant from the very first row. It was so amazing. I'll never forget it. Told this girl in second grade one was a psychic just a troll and she did believe me. Of course. So she asked me to predict something. I said, "You're going to scream right now." And as she was saying, "That's dumb. Why would I?" A kindergartner playing tag randomly fell and rolled back into her legs and she screamed. She was really scared of me after that lol. Playing dodgeball in like 4th grade. I was one of the few people still in the court. Saw a boy aiming straight at me from the line. I remember staring at him, as if it was all in slow motion, and just knowing that ball wasn't going to hit me. He flung it and I made the smallest little sidestep, never breaking eye contact, and barely dodged the ball. Everyone lost their shit, which I remember so clearly because I was a huge nerd at the time and felt badass for once. This was like 20 years ago. Noticed an error on our website that would affect customers. Emailed the web team about it thinking they'd ignore it until someone higher up brought it to their attention. They read it, implemented changes, and CC'd my director to thank me for the input. Hey, as a web person, thanks. I'd personally rather know from an internal user than an upset customer or something even worse coming down the line. It's better to speak up rather than have it go downhill and make life so much worse for us than something we can correct. Decided on a whim to make some peanut sauce, peanut butter, soy sauce, a little water, and it was looking close but kind of clotting. When I stopped stirring, randomly remember learning that vanilla goes in cookies and shit BC. It helps stuff mix. So add a dash of vanilla and the sauce instantly comes together. Felt like a mad genius. This is actually really good information. I'm going to use your vanilla trick in the future. A splash of liquor of any type would likely do the trick. Just something with a little alcohol to help soften the fats in the peanut butter. Trying to unclog a toilet without a plunger. Poured some fabric softener in there just to see if it would help and it cleared it right up almost immediately. A little kid I was babysitting put a ton of toilet paper in and clogged the toilet. I couldn't find a plunger, and I figured maybe it would soften the paper up and help clear the block. As I remembered hearing about dish soap helping break down fats in poop and helping to clear clogs. I poured it in, walked away to put the softener back, and walked back into the bathroom to hear a large glug and a totally clear toilet. Edit. Holy shit. Haha. My inbox. Thanks for the silver. Until what a poop knife is. Wait, poop is fabric. The fabric of the universe. Brown matter. My buddy was having a bad weekend. and we were next day buzzed at our college's cafeteria. We'd load up on tater tots and pizza, and other state school-level brunch items. He's bumming, so I say, "Hey man, see her over there? Cute, right?" Quote, "Sure. Okay, well I'm going to go hit on her. Be back in a sec. I have no game with women. I am nothing to look at." I smelled like Jaeger and Marlboro Lights. I think I was wearing sweatpants and a button-up shirt. For some fucking reason, I'm not convinced I had ever hit on anyone before. It isn't me. The entire premise was she would throw her drink in my face, or be horrified, and I would walk away laughing, and my buddy would get a laugh out of my hilarious public rejection. Anyway, when I got there I didn't know what to do, so we just talked. I sorta knew the girl she was with. I sort of addressed her, then flirted with her cute blonde friend. Nothing happened. I walked back to my table. Anyway, cute blonde friend and I had a class that semester, and with the ice broken I just talked to her like a non-retarded person. We have been married a decade now and have 2 kids. It was 1000% supposed to be a joke, so it didn't work, but, I mean, it sort of worked. Edit. Hey, thanks. To answer a few questions, yes, I've posted this before, just not word for word. I try to rework it whenever it's relevant. Give me a break. Like 3 interesting things have ever happened to me. Also, yeah, she knows. Her general response is, "That's dumb. Who throws a drink at a cafeteria?" Fair enough. I don't see that buddy anymore, but he is also married and doing well. We haven't spoken much since college, but we've had a laugh about the ridiculous happenstance of how I met my wife. Of course I'd never tell him I made a Reddit post about it because nobody uses Reddit IRL. Never even heard of it. The long game. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.